A pleasant day to all of you. We are here to present a research proposal entitled Integrating Math Trail Approach Towards an Improved Problem-Solving Skills. The researchers are from Bachelor of Elementary Education. They are Rosel Cabillon, Laika May Castro, Gina Ortiz, Nilma Padong, Myra Regalario, and Florenmir Suniga. They will present the following parts of the research. The table of contents are context and rationale, research questions, hypothesis, significance of the study, scope and delimitation, definition of terms, conceptual framework, types of research, respondents, sampling method, proposed innovation, intervention or strategy, work plan, instruments, data collection procedure, data analysis, references, survey questionnaire, interview guide questions for the pupils, declaration of anti-plagiarism and absence of conflict of interest, and lastly, guide for appraising school action research proposals. I am Nilma P. Padong. I will present to you the context and rationale of this research study. A non-routine problem is any complex problem that requires some degree of creativity or originality to solve. Non-routine problems typically do not have an immediate apparent strategy for solving them. It is stated that a non-routine problem is not easy solving problem as we think. We need a thorough understanding and analysis before we come up to a solution for solving them. Mathematics is like an air that we need and encounter every day and everywhere. We are living together with mathematics. Everybody needs to know how to do problem solving because they will encounter it everywhere. Mathematics is something that we encounter even if we are not aware. A student, a parent, a vendor, or everyone encounter it even if they are not in the school. There are lots of situations that they encounter and do problem solving, like paying bills, buy on the store, listing expenses, and many more. That is why we need to learn and love mathematics in problem solving because we can hide from it. The researcher chose this topic, grade 5 pupils' difficulties in solving non-routine problems involving 4 fundamental operations with or without any of the other operations of decimal and whole numbers, including money, using appropriate problem-solving strategies and tools due to lack of informational skills. Based on the observation of the researchers in the Alagao Elementary School, the grade 5 pupils having difficulties in solving non-routine problems, so that they come up with a study of integrating strategy to help students in solving non-routine problems. They think appropriate problem-solving strategies and tools that can be used by the students who are facing difficulties and has lack of informational skills, for them to improve their problem-solving skills and to target the skills that the teacher intended to achieve by the students. They think appropriate problem-solving strategies and tools like the MEXA or the Material Explorer approach. This will serve as a strategy or weapon for the teacher in achieving the target learning of the students in mathematics problem solving. Solving skills in non-routine problems are useful for real-life situations. This topic is interesting to study and to provide solution for this problem. Like what I've said a while ago, mathematics is everywhere. We can hide from it. We can encounter it not just in school but everywhere. Everyone needs a thorough understanding and learn this strategy to avoid difficulties in solving mathematical or the non-routine problem solving.
Good day, I'm Gina Ortiz and I'm here to present to you the statement of the problem. This research aims to answer these following questions. First is, how may the pupils' level of performance in solving non-routine problems be described? Since this research aims to integrate an intervention, it is important to determine the levels of students' performance for us to know the degree of our intervention. Second question or second statement of the problem is, what are the factors affecting students in solving non-routine problems? Identifying the factors that affect the students' performance is essential because we all know that there are reasons that affect the students in solving non-routine problems. Through this, it will help us to understand deeply why the level of students' performance, as well as to determine if our provided intervention, which is MEXA, will help to decrease or eradicate those factors towards students' improvement in solving non-routine problems. For the third question, is there a significant difference in the pre-test and post-test of the pupils after exposing them to Math Real Explorer approach? Since we will integrate an intervention which is MEXA, we want to know if our intervention is effective, which can be determined by the post-test and pre-test and post-test, so wherein the score would be increased or the score in post-test is higher than the score in pre-test. Fourth is, how does learning and practicing non-routine problem solving using Math Real Explorer approach changes a students' performance? We want to know if the students, after exposing in the Math Real Explorer approach, change their performance positively.
Hi, I'm Floren Mercy Zuniga, and I am going to discuss the hypothesis and the significance of the study. Hypothesis. The hypothesis of the study is a statement of expectations or predictions. Based on the problems, we, the researchers, hypothesize or predict the possible outcome of our research. In our hypothesis, we have two parts, the alternative and null hypothesis. First is alternative hypothesis. We believe to be true or hope to prove true. It always says that there is. So, for the alternative hypothesis is, there is a significant effect on student performance in solving non-routine problems using Math Real Explorer approach. So, when the students improve their skills in solving a problem using our interventions, there is a possibly help to increase the thinking level of the students when it comes to solving non-routine problems. It is possible that the outcome of our study will be good or effective. Second is null hypothesis. In null hypothesis, there is no relationship or there is no possible outcome of our study. It is always says no. So, for our null hypothesis, there is no significant effect on student performance in solving non-routine problem using Math Real Explorer approach. Instead of increasing the student thinking level when it comes to the problem solving using Math Real Explorer approach, it is possible that the outcome of the study will decrease the student performance in solving mathematical problems, so there is no effect on students' performance. Next is significance of the study. Significance of the study, this is the statement that explains why our research was needed. The results of the study will help in improving the knowledge and informational skills towards solving non-routine problems, which will be beneficial to various sectors as it follows. First is the students. In this study, the students are the ones who can benefit or help the most, because some students had a hard time in solving mathematical problems. Hence, using this approach, the student will be eager to participate because they enjoy what they are doing and effectively improve their problem-solving skills. Second is the parents. This study benefits also the parents. Since we are under a new normal and there is no face-to-face class because of the virus, students should only be at home. The parents, they will serve as the guide or teachers to their children to learn how to solve the problem, and they need to have enough knowledge to teach them properly. Third is the teachers. In this study, the teachers will benefit because they will get different strategies or approach on how they can successfully teach students to solve a mathematical problem in a way that the student will enjoy. Because we know that when math subject, many students lose their attentions because they're getting bored. So in our study, it is a great benefit to teachers to get the attentions of the students again in a way that they enjoy. Last is the researchers. This study also beneficial for us, the researchers, because we can use it in the future, especially in teaching professions.
I am Myra B. Regalario to present to you the scope and limitation. Our study aims to determine the efficiency of Math Real Explorer approach or the MEXA in aiding the difficulties of the grade 5 pupils in Alagao Elementary School concerning non-routine problem solving. Our study will be conducted during the third grading period, comprises of all the grade 5 pupils of the said school as the respondents. With the use of mixed method or both, qualitative and quantitative form to gather data and to provide relevant information to accomplish the action research. Definition of terms. We present the following definition of terms to aid the understanding in our study. Conceptual knowledge. Learning that involves understanding and interpreting concepts and the relations between the concepts. Explorer. A person who sets out to discover something by going somewhere unfamiliar. Intervention. In general terms, it is a set of steps a teacher takes or a formal process for helping a child improve in their area of need, where research-based instructional approaches are implemented to remove educational barriers. Non-routine problem. Any complex problem that requires some degree or creativity or originality to solve, and it typically does not have immediately apparent strategy for solving them. Procedural. Procedural knowledge. Learning that involves only memorizing operation with no understanding or underlying meanings. Problem solving. It is a mathematical process. As such, it is to be found in the strand of mathematical process, along with logic and reasoning, and communication, and a side of mathematics that enable us to use the skill is a wide variety of situations. Trail. Trail is usually a path, track, or unpaved lane or road.
Hello, good day. I am Laika May Castro, and the part that I'm going to discuss is the conceptual framework and the matrix or work plan. Let us proceed to the conceptual framework of the study, integrating Material Explorer Approach or MEXA towards an improved problem-solving skills. So this figure shows the concept of research. The input consists of the student's performance in solving non-routine problems in terms of conceptual understanding, procedural knowledge, and problem-solving strategies. So input serves as the researcher's problem. So the input is the variable that greatly affects the acquisition of knowledge, conceptual, procedural, and problem-solving strategies, and the performance of the students in solving the non-routine problems. So, in the process, this is the implemented strategy, which is the integrating MEXA or Material Explorer approach or strategy. So the process involved the application of MEXA or the Material Explorer approach to come up with the output, which is acquisition of new problem-solving strategies for the improvement of problem-solving skills. So, this strategy or approach will help the student and the researchers to have effective output or result. So, in the output, the expected outcome or result of the study is the student improve problem-solving skills, acquisition of new problem-solving strategies. The researchers found out that there are many students in Alagao Elementary School, which is under grade 5 students, facing difficulties in non-routine problem solving. So, because they didn't understand the stated problem thoroughly, like understanding words and connection of the given, or some of them are not paying attention to the problem that is given to them. Because some students, especially elementary grades, some of them are not paying attention because they don't like the subject itself, which is the math, because they think it is difficult to solve problems.
For the review of related literature, according to Lavin, students are not learning anything unless they have the opportunity to apply knowledge and skills in problem solving. Students must also use other strategies in problem solving such as guessing, drawing a diagram, making a table, simulation, simplifying the problems, and working backwards. Problem solving requires the production of sequential processes that constitute strategies beyond the execution of the sequence. Any kind of problem needs to apply cognitive effort and skills. Students must use different and appropriate strategies that can help them to solve problems, especially non-routine problems. Like as stated by NCTM 2000, the researcher intended to use MEXA or the Material Explorer approach because this strategy or approach has different strategies that could help the students or the pupils to solve the mathematical problems, especially with regards to the non-routine problems. So, different, unique, and creative strategies can help the students to explore the mathematical equations and problems with the use of their chosen strategies. And they will have an opportunity to enhance their skills towards an improved problem-solving skills.
I'm here again to present to you the types of our research. Our study will utilize the mixed method as a design in accomplishing the action research, enabling the researchers to have an in-depth exploration concerning student performance in solving non-routine problems. Mixed method research design is a procedure whereby researchers collect and analyze data of both the qualitative and quantitative forms that produces a more reliable and justifiable action or intervention plan. Our action research covers wide variety of investigative, evaluative, and analytical research design to assist educators in finding solutions to improve the teaching and learning process. Applying mixed method to an action research aims to provide comprehensive information. Mixed method seeks to provide comprehensive answers to study research questions, whereas action research seeks to provide comprehensive solution to practical problems.
Hello, I'm Rosel Zicabillion and I am the one who will present to you the respondents or participants of this study. The focus of the study will be the grade 5 pupils in Alagao Elementary School that are already exposed to the different concepts in mathematics which are more complex compared to the topics they learned during the primary years. As the grade level gets higher, the more complicated the mathematics become. And so the researchers chose the grade 5 pupils in the said school to be the participant in the action research that they will conduct. The researchers also consider the factor that the participants have something in common so they could openly talk about their struggles towards solving non-routine problems. And since there could be limited students in the said school, it is possible to have the whole class as the participants since having all the students participate will also make the study more realistic as there could be a comparison of performances. It will also make the students feel that they are not different to others and that no one should be left behind since the study is intended to conduct solely for their welfare. Next is the sampling method. The study will focus on the grade 5 pupils of Alagao Elementary School. The sample will be selected through purposive sampling procedure. The purposive sampling is a non-probability sampling whereas the researchers select a sample based on their judgment of who they think is appropriate to the study. This will also determine by having the grade 5 pupils undergo a series of tests.
those who got the lowest scores and observed to have difficulties in determining and executing problem-solving strategies will be included as a respondent. The respondents are selected from who we think will provide the more reliable and factual data, as we could analyze and determine who really are the students who have the capabilities and who we should focus more. Due to this reason, the number of respondents are still identified, as it will be dependent on the performance of the students in solving non-routine problems. Next is the proposed innovation or intervention. The researchers intend to use the Material Explorer approach or MEXA in enhancing the problem-solving skills of grade 5 pupils in Alagao Elementary School. As indicated in the METs for grade 5, students are learning to solve non-routine problems with or without any of the other operations of decimals and whole numbers including money, using appropriate problem-solving strategies and tools. Through the coordination of the researchers to one of the teachers in the said school, they were able to discover that some of the students are having difficulties in solving worded mathematical problems. From the least learned competency of the students, the researchers were able to formulate a new strategy for them to learn mathematics in fun and easy way. So, Math Trail Explorer approach or MEXA is a printed learning material that contains lessons related to non-routine mathematical problem and aims to improve students' problem-solving skills, specifically their conceptual and procedural knowledge. So MEXA also offers online copy for those who have gadgets and have internet connections. So the materials will contain mathematical problems and will include strategies such as Polya's problem-solving technique and visual learning bridges. It will focus on the mathematical lesson or higher order thinking and problem-solving skills that reinforces math practices and vocabulary problems where conceptual and procedural understanding emerges. So Polya created his famous four steps process, which are understand the problem, devise a plan, carry out the plan, and look back. To problem solving, to show the students how it aid people in solving words problems. So on the other hand, the visual learning bridges is an instructional design used to help students develop content connections through topic-contained lessons or projects and activities that are connected by a common focus. So the intervention will use mathematical models to solve real-world problems. The two strategies have common procedures and lead to a common goal, which is to improve students' problem-solving skills. The approach teaches by means of a systematic development of applying knowledge to complex problem situations and focusing on to the aspects of problem-solving processes and strategies that will allow students to model solutions regarding real-world problems using various mathematical strategies and methods. So the strategy will be designed according to presenting the problem first. Then there would be leading questions where it could help the students to determine what the problem is all about. We will include this strategy due to some sources saying that one of the main problems of the students in solving non-routine problems are due to lack of analyzing skills, which couldn't understand what the problem is all about. So we will include questions like who is involved, what are the items, what is it shapes, what is being asked, or what are the given numbers. So next is we will prepare statements where they should choose what strategy in solving non-routine problems they should use, which is manipulative, where they could take the answers and paste it out on the blanks. So, for example, is acting it out, use objects, making a list, drawing a picture, visualizing, carrying out, and etc. So, following this is a cut out images, prepared tables and mathematical symbols which they can use to represent the idea or the strategy that they decided to use. Lastly, we will ask them to check their answers by giving them questions and asking them if they have answered the questions correctly. So as they answer the questions correctly, we will have the amazing math trail board colored according to the answer they've got in every questions until they reach the finish line. So this strategy will help the students to analyze the problems more easily due to the leading questions and illustrations. So in this kind of approach, they will learn how to analyze the questions carefully and to choose strategy that fits the problems.
So, let us now proceed to our work plan or the matrix of the study. So, work plan is the step-by-step procedures of the conduct of the study, or this is the guide and flow of the researcher. So, we have here the objective. So, objective number 1 is to orient the pupil, participants, with their parents' conduct of the study. Our research activity is conducting orientation to pupil participant with their parents. So, of course, before we start our research, we need to have an orientation to the students and also to their parents. Our target time is the first week of June 2021 within 1 hour. Our orientation run within 1 hour. So, the person involved in this orientation, of course, is the researchers, pupils, participants, with their parents. So, after we orient the parent and the student and the participants, we have here the expected outcome. So, our expected outcome in the objective number 1 is well-informed participants on how the study will be conducted. So, let us now proceed to our objective number 2. Our objective number 2 is to know the level of mathematical problem-solving skills of the pupils participants. So, we need to have an activity to this objective number 1. So, our research activity there is administering of non-routine problem-solving activities, tasks to the pupils participants. Before we know the mathematical problem-solving skills of the pupils participants, we need to have an activities or tasks that will boost their skills. So, our target time and date there is 2nd week of June 2021, 1 to 2 hours. So, the person involved in this is the researcher, parents of the participants, and the teacher. So, parents are involved because they will help the students and facilitate them. So, our expected outcome in here is administered non-routine problem-solving activities or tasks. So, our number 3 objective is to implement the proposed strategy. In this part, the Math Rail Explorer approach is involved. So, research activities is administering the Math Rail Explorer approach in the teaching and learning process. So, our target date and time is 3rd week of June 2021 up to 2nd week of July 2021. So, the person involved in here is the researcher, pupil participants with their parents. Of course, we need their help of their parents to guide them. So, the expected outcome is administered Math Rail Explorer approach. In this part, we can see if the Math Rail Explorer approach or MEXA would be effective. So, last part of our matrix or work plan is objective number 4, to know the level of mathematical problem-solving skills of the pupils participant after implementing the proposed intervention. So, before we know the level of mathematical performance of the participant after implementing our MEXA or proposed intervention, we need to have an activity. Administering of non-routine problem-solving activities, tasks, to the pupils participant after implementing the proposed intervention. So, our target date and timing here is 3rd week of July 2021. So, of course, the person involved is the researchers, pupil participants, also with the help of their parents. So, the expected outcome in here would be administered non-routine problem-solving activities after implementing the proposed intervention. So, in this part, we can see if the level of mathematical problem-solving skills of the pupils participant would get high after using the proposed intervention, which is the MEXA or Math Rail Explorer approach.
Again, I'm Gina Ortiz and I'm here now to present the research instruments. Research instrument. This study will use specific research instruments to answer the statement of the problem. We will use a survey questionnaire to gather the desired data on this study, which consists of 4 parts. First is the statement of the problem number 1. We will use pretest score analysis, in which the scores will be interpreted using numerical data. The statement of the problem number 1, or the level of performance of the respondents in solving non-routine problems, will be measured through the use of the pretest scores. The scores will be interpreted with the use of a numerical rating. Through the scores of the pretest, we can identify the performance of the students in solving non-routine problems, in which we can determine it using rating scale. The rating scale will be used to describe the score of the pretest. For instance, the percentage of the student's score in pretest is 90% to 100%. Then, the performance of the students will be described as outstanding, or if the students get 75% to 17 or 79%, then the student's performance is very satisfactory. The instrument to be used in SOP number 2 is checklist rating scale, which is a mix of an adapted survey, an investigation of the factors affecting middle school mathematics students' ability to solve unfamiliar problems involving familiar mathematics concepts. So, paper pencil questionnaire will be applied that allows the respondents to answer with the use of 5-point Likert scale. For the SOP number 3, we will use paired t-test. It is the comparison of pretest and post-test. To answer the statement of the problem, we will use paired t-test. Paired t-test will indicate if there was a statistical significant difference between the score of pretest and post-test. For the statement number 4, we will use item analysis. It refers to the student's performance before and after exposing in Math Rail Explorer approach. Item analysis is an instrument that will be used to examine the student's responses to individual test items or questions in order to assess the quality of those items and the test as a whole. Through this instrument, we can identify the changes in students' performance after learning and practicing non-routine problems using Math Rail Explorer approach.
I am here again to discuss and present the data collection procedure or data gathering technique. The procedure in data gathering, first is asking permission from the school's division superintendent of Bulacan specialist and from the district supervisor and the school principal to allow the pupils in the conduct of the study and gather from them the relevant data needed for the study, and follow systematic step-by-step procedures of the conduct of the study. These techniques or procedure must be done before conducting a study for formalities and better outcome of the study.
So now I will present the data analysis. The researcher will be using the following statistical tools. So number 1, the pretest scores will be used to evaluate the pupil's level of performance in terms of the application of essential knowledge, skills, and strategies in solving non-routine problems. Since as a researcher, we don't have the rights to characterize the students easily on who is fast learners or who is slow learners, and people may have different views and interpretation regarding the topic. So we will use the operational definition of terms where we made our own definition and standardized to measure students' level of performance. So the pretest scores will be summed up and interpreted into a percentage using this numerical rating. So below 75% represents the weakest performance, while 90% to 100% represents the outstanding performance of the students. So next is the data analysis number 2. checklist rating scale will be used to identify the factors affecting the students in solving non-routine problems. So it will be used in a way that there will be a set of statements describing the factors that possibly affects the students' abilities in solving non-routine problems. So it consists of 3 parts with 10 statements each, where the learned factors describe the comprehension skills of the students, the organized factor, which tells the motivation of the students to learn the topic, and lastly, the third part is the dynamic factor, or the mentality of the students towards learning mathematics. So, with the help of a Likert scale, we can determine the degree of agreement of the students regarding the factors affecting their learning and performances. So the Likert scale consists of 2 columns having the range and descriptions as its designation. So we chose the strongly agree and disagree descriptor as you are assessing the agreement or disagreement of the students regarding the factors. So we chose the interval scale in making our Likert scale, since these have a clear order and each point is very evenly spaced. So in getting the interval, we get the highest score that they could give, and since there are only 5 indicators, as the rule says, we should subtract 1 from it. So 5 minus 1 is equals to 4. So we should divide it to 5 since it is the greatest value. So it will become 0.80. So 1 as the lowest value will be the start of counting. So add 0.80 since we start in 1, it will be 1 to 1.79 and so on. To interpret the data, the data that we will be collected, we will use the SPSS or statistical package for the social science, which I learned from our former teacher, Ma'am Karen Taluban, and we will encode the data there with proper labeling. When it is done, we could now get the mean and standard deviation of the data inputted with its final descriptor. So since we use the interval scale, we will use the sum up of the data for each category, or the grand mean, which we will use to interpret the data.
For number 3, fair t-tests will be used to identify if there will be significant differences between pre-test and post-test scores of the pupils in order to know if there is an improvement in solving non-routine problems. Fair t-tests will be used to analyze the data or the result of the pre-test and post-test, which focuses on the comparison between the two. Pre-test and post-test scores for one group of the participant, which is weighed by pupils, will match each pupil's pre-test score with the post-test score. Through this, we can determine if there is significant difference in the pre-test and post-test after exposing them to material explorer approach. However, if there is no changes happen between the pre-test and post-test, it implies that there is no significant difference between pre-test and post-test. For number 4, item analysis will be used in order to know the problem-solving proficiency of the students before and after exposing in Material Explorer approach for solving non-routine problems through the scores from the pre-test and post-test. To analyze or determine the performance of the students before exposing in the Material Explorer approach, which can be seen in the pre-test, as well as after exposing to the approach, which can be analyzed through the post-test score. The answer of the students in a particular item of the test will analyze in a way that the students might got the wrong answer in that certain item during the pretest. However, when exposed or after exposed in the approach in first test, the students will got the correct answer on the same item or question. It would clearly explain that the intervention is effective because the performance of the students in solving problems, which is the application of their acquired skills, or aid of the intervention.
So, in behalf of our group, thank you for watching and listening in our virtual presentation entitled Integrating Material Explorer Approach Towards an Improved Problem-Solving Skills. This is the end of our presentation. We hope
that you would accept our research proposal, and that would be all. Thank you.